Hi Titans. We're going to start where we left off, moving to step 2. So far we drew our abstract adjectives, hopefully using abstract and geometric shapes and lines. This time we're going to do things a little bit differently. We're still going to go back to our survey, and so I'm going to look at some of the things that I wrote that I do outside for fun or activities, preferably actions, things that I like or things that I like to do. And we're going to draw those on a whole new separate sheet of paper. So I'm going to start the same way and fold my paper into quadrants just like I did last time. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but I want to take your best shot at it. Remember that right now we're not drawing full logos, we're just drawing graphic, which means simple in terms of detail and color, just graphic images of our words. So the first word that I like is video games. So by the way, you could use a pencil. I'm using a marker so you can see what I draw. But I'm going to write down video games in one corner. And then in the next quadrant, I'm going to write down drawing because that's another thing I like to do. I also like dealing with and working with computers. So that's going to be my next one. And my favorite food is pizza. So that's going to be my last one. All right. So on the first set of 4, we concentrated on abstract shapes, okay? But this time we're going to use figurative shapes, which means they're shapes that are representing something. So on my first one, video games, I'm going to try and draw something that represents video games. And it's a good idea to look up different things that you want to draw, because if you're drawing something, you want it to actually look like what it looks like, and sometimes we can't remember all the details of that thing to make it look our best. Now, these are still quick drawings. They're not like, they should be your best work, but they're not something that, I'm going to grade based on your ability. But I still want to, obviously I want it to be obvious that you're drawing that thing. So I'm going to actually look at what I'm drawing to try and draw it. I'm not going to try and trace the screen because it's just, first of all, it's just not that important. And second of all, I'd rather have your drawing than the drawing that's already on the screen. I'm not trying to steal what they did. I'm trying to get your version of it. So this is my, without coloring anything in, because I want to keep it very undetailed and a simple shape drawing basically. This is now the joystick that I'm going to use as my video game reference that could potentially go into my logo. And for the next one, I'm going to do something that represents drawing. And this is my symbol for how to show that I'm into drawing. Got 2 more here. Now you'll notice that I'm doing these in about like a minute each at most. It's okay if yours takes a little bit longer. I have a little bit more practice than you probably, by about 30 years. Okay, so these are my 4 drawings that are all figurative, which means that they represent an object or a thing that's real. So you can see my 4 simple or graphic drawings to represent those 4 things. So this would be the second part of your packet, which is going to be the drawing part of the logo project. The last page is going to be 4 things again, so you might as well use your trick to make those 4 quadrants. And they're all going to be anything else that you find on your list. And these can be drawn either abstractly or with abstract and geometric shapes or with figurative shapes. So for these last 4, it's really open. You could pretty much have anything you want here, except again, you can't draw existing logos for parts of your logo. And you also want to stay away from drawing detailed pictures. You want them to be very simple and graphic. So when I'm looking over my paper, I'm looking for things that are important to me that I haven't drawn already. And I'm seeing that I like squirrels. That's a no-brainer, I'm pretty sure. Someone has described me back in college as being wild. Let's see, I like to skate, so inline skating or rollerblading. And I'm also pretty hyper. So I'm going to write those things down, and then I'm going to quickly draw them using any of the techniques on the board to draw them. So to show wild, I'm thinking I might show like a wildfire. Okay, so I might draw some fiery type shapes here. Shape isn't a word. I'm pretty sure shape's not a word. For hyper, I might draw the shape of or the line that kind of looks like a spring, because that's a shape that means hyper. And for skating, I might draw shapes that look like this, so like those represent the wheels, but it's a little bit abstracted. And for squirrels, I might draw a quick shape of a squirrel's head. Show that I like those things. And maybe I'll draw part of his tail too, because that's one of the identifying features of a squirrel. So I have my wildfire, my inline skating, and also my hyperspring and my squirrel shapes. So these 3 pages together are the first part of this project. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that made it clear for you what your expectations are. Please feel free to leave appropriate feedback and subscribe.